Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to this week's fine figure. I give you the Ram Curtsey figure. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to another anime figure opening video. Today we're going to be opening the Ram Curtsey figure from ReZero. I have been waiting for this figure for a little while now because we recently opened the Rem Curtsey figure, but there was no accompanying Ram. As some of you might know, I live in Osaka, Japan, which is one of the biggest cities here in Japan, and I could not find this anywhere. I looked in all of the game centers and I found it in a few shops, but it felt like I was not winning anything. So, Comic Con happened last week, so I was able to go to Tokyo for a little bit, which was amazing fun. But while I was in Akihabara, I came across a Sega that actually had this figure. So, today we're going to be opening this one up, and I'm really excited to be opening it. So as always, let's take a quick look at the box and see what we have on here. We have some lovely art on the front of Ram, which is of course beautiful as always. And this is a JAMA Prize figure. As you may know, this was also the same maker that made the Rem Curtsey figure. I don't know why they picked someone else to make it. There's a few lovely shots on the sides here. Well, there's nothing on this side, that's kind of upsetting. Nothing special really. But this figure is exclusive to Sega arcades, which makes it more difficult to get. In Japan there's so many different game centers or arcades to go to, so finding a Sega one can be a little bit difficult, especially one that stocks this figure. So as you can see, we've got a lot of Japanese information on the back. We're not going to go into any detail of this today, but I would like to point out this lovely little holographic sticker down in the bottom right hand corner here. Maybe you can see the words Kadokoa. This sticker just shows that it's an official product and that it has been produced under their permission. Just think of it like the old Yu-Gi-Oh cards that used to have the first edition little holographic in the bottom right hand corner. God, thinking about that brings back so much nostalgia. Okay, so let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and open her up and see what's inside the box. Unfortunately, I seem to have misplaced my crafting knife, so today we do also... Unfortunately, I seem to have misplaced my crafting knife, but luckily we do also have lots of kitchen knives that we can use. So today we're going to be using a very small, not very sharp at all kitchen knife to open up today's figure. So as you would expect, just 3 pieces of sellotape. Oh wow, that's a very sharp point on the end of this knife. These are not too difficult to open. A lot of people make the mistake of peeling these off of the box itself, but then that just causes a stupid amount of damage to the packaging. Okay, tape done. Put you down for 1 second. Must of course resheath our weapon. So, all dilly-dallying aside, jumping straight in. Oh, very nicely, we have a plastic holder for the figure, which looks beautiful. Oh, you're looking very pretty. Oh, I'm very excited to open you up. Okay, let's quickly get organized and then we can have a nice, decent look at this figure. Okay, so essentially this is basically just a copy of the Ram figure from what I can see. Although it does still look very beautiful, I'm not complaining. Let's take her out of her plastic casing and have a nicer look at her. Oh, there's so much sellotape. Okay, what do we have? What do we have? Okay, so we got another base for her. Oh, the same instructions we had last time. We'll take a look at those later. And then of course we have the Ram figure herself, which looks like there's a lot more colour than the Rem figure. Let's put her down. Oh, okay. Well, that's not really much packaging. Get rid of that. And there you go. That is the Ram figure. Wow. It looks basically just like the Ram figure. Alright, let's put this down for a second. Okay, so first of all, the stand. The stand doesn't seem to have too much special about it. What do we have on the bottom here? Just a tiny bit of information. Nothing important, just made in China, RE0, doopy-doo. And this one has a different kind of tinge to it. It's not nice pink-white as the REM figure was. This one's a bit more of a bluey turquoise. Oh, it's lovely, it looks nice. And of course we have the figure herself, so let's put them together and make one unit. Okay, so here we have the Ram Curtsey figure in her full glory. The figure itself looks absolutely wonderful, and I'm really excited to take a more detailed look at some of her features. So let's get straight to it. Okay, so let's start off with the face. The face itself looks absolutely wonderful. The hair looks lovely and well designed. There's a lot of texture to the hair, which is quite nice, and it doesn't feel rubbery like a lot of previous figures that we've had a look at. Her headband has a lot of lovely little flowers on there too. Ooh, nice little knobbly bits. Gives it a bit more of a texture and kind of makes it feel more real. She also has a lovely purple flower ribbon here on the side of her head. This is very nicely detailed, and it adds an extra layer of depth to the figure itself. If you look really carefully, you could see her tiny little ears. But there, that's her hair. The face has a ton of detail on it. The eyes look absolutely beautiful. These are clearly painted on. She has a small nose that sticks out here, as you can see, and her mouth, well, her mouth is there. It's always important. Looking at the rest of her body, she's wearing a maid outfit. So this is an exact copy of what her sister is wearing over on the shelf. If you haven't seen that video, please go check it out, as we will be comparing that figure to this one. So she's wearing a wonderful maid dress. This has multiple layers to it, as you might be able to see here. I think this is just wonderful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's really impressive the amount of detail that has gone into this. It's a beautiful white ribbon on the back. Yeah, I'm really impressed with that too. There's some lace bits at the back. There's a tiny little bow. Maybe you can see that here. This is, oh, this moves. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if that's supposed to move, but no, it's lovely. I'm not too sure why, but there's a little bit of dirt on the arm here. That's not me, I promise. I just opened the figure, but yeah, not too sure why that is there. Also, she has some lovely little arm pieces that are attached to her arm. Oh wow, her arm moves too. I don't know if that's supposed to do that. Oh, I'm worried this is going to fall off now. It feels really weak. This one moves too. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. I don't think they're supposed to move. There's a lot of detail on her dress, as we have mentioned, a lot of layers and a lot of pieces that feel like they really shouldn't be moving, but they do move. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I will leave that down to you. She's also wearing some thigh-high stockings. That is as far up the skirt as we are going to look in this video. And these are held up by a few straps at the front, ooh, and at the back. These stockings also go from a beautiful white up to a faded blue. I assume this is intentional because it's also on the Ram figure, but it seems to add a little bit of extra depth to the figure itself. Okay, and finally moving to the shoes, there's nothing special about these at all. The straps have a tiny bit of detail on them, but they're just your standard maid shoes. But they do make the whole outfit look wonderful, so I think that stands out quite nicely. One qualm I have with this figure is that this base doesn't really like to stay onto the feet. Usually these stick in and stay stuck in, but this one, I mean, it doesn't even connect. I have to push the leg in to get it into that hole, which is kind of annoying, especially if I'm holding it here and then this base is just simply falling off. Okay, so that's the Ram figure. Let's have a quick look at her in a little bit more detail. Because this Ram figure is part of a set, I feel that we need to put her up next to her sister to take a look to see what is similar and what is different between these two figures. And straight away, if you can look really carefully, there is a huge difference in the color of these bases. This one has a pink base and this one has a blue base. And I think this is to contrast with the color of each other's hair. And I think it adds quite a nice little effect. We'll take a better look at that later when there's better lighting. So another part of these figures that you may have already noticed that really stands out is, of course, these head parts. On their heads they have these beautiful coloured ribbons and they are both different colours. And this is to contrast with the other hair colour. I think that this is a beautiful detail that adds a lot to these figures, so I think that that alone makes these very beautiful. So one more part that I would like to point out that really stands out on these two figures, and I think a lot of you may have noticed this already, is this little indent here on the dress. Rem has just one deep indent here, but Ram has a few smaller indents here. And I think that's because the figures themselves are different sizes. In different places. But also, Ram has a much thinner waist compared to Rem, but it's very minute and you can barely tell the difference. But other than this, these figures are basically the same thing. They're wonderful, and being twins, I think that these outfits suit them very nicely. And also, with the Rem figure, we got a little clip that stands the two figures together. So let's put them together and take a nice detailed look to see what they look like as a pair unit. Okay, and now it's time to put her up on the shelf. Let's go for a walk. Ooh, trying to find somewhere to put you is going to be easy. Oh, comic marker. Woo, comic it. Okay, we've actually had to move the Berserker figure now. She is now living all the way over here on the windowsill. So that leaves a lot of nice space for our new Ram figure. So let's put her in and see how she looks on the shelf with her sister. And there we have it, the Ram Curtsey figure duo. These figures are wonderful. They're a bit different from this Rem and Ram up here that came out last year. But again, they're still beautiful figures and I think they're a wonderful addition to anyone's collection. So thanks for tuning into today's video. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying the videos, please subscribe. If there's any figures you want us to open in the future, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll see if I can get my hands on them. Being in Japan, it shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, so thanks for tuning in and see you all again soon. Okay, bye!